All right, let's talk Python. You know how a simple list can sometimes be, well, a little confusing? Today, we're going to look at a much better way to organize your data. We're talking about adding labels, getting rid of all that guesswork, and making things super clear. Let's jump right in.
So take a look at this. We've got a list that's supposed to represent a person. And if I ask you, hey, what's at person index 1? You see the number 30. But what is that? Is that their age, an employee ID, maybe the number of projects they finished? Who knows? With a list like this, you're just guessing. The data has no real meaning on its own. And that, right there, is the core problem. I'm calling it the indexing problem. Lists just use numbers, 0, 1, 2, and those numbers don't tell you anything. You, the developer, have to remember that index 0 is the name, index 1 is the age, and so on. It makes your code tough to read, and honestly, it's a total nightmare to maintain later on.
Okay, so check this out. This is where it all clicks. On the left, you've got the old way, the list. You just have to know that index 0 is the name. But look at the right. This is a dictionary. Instead of a number, we're using a label, a key, like the word name. All of a sudden, the code just makes sense. Person name? Well, of course that's Kasim. There's no guesswork. This is an absolute game changer for writing clean code. And you know what? This is how pretty much all modern data works, whether you're getting it from an API or reading a config file.
So let's officially meet our hero for today, the Python dictionary. We're about to dive into what makes it tick and see how it completely solves that messy indexing problem for good.
So what is a dictionary, really? Well, at its heart, it's just a bunch of key-value pairs. The best way to think about it is like a real dictionary. You look up a word, that's the key, to find its meaning, that's the value. It's the super flexible little mini database you can build right into your code. And hey, if you've ever worked with JavaScript, this is going to feel a lot like a JS object.
Okay, that's enough of the what. Let's get into the how. We're going to build out your essential dictionary toolkit right now. These are the moves you'll be making all the time.
And honestly, it's super straightforward. Need to grab a value? Just use the key in square brackets. Want to add something new? Easy. Just make up a new key and give it a value. And updating something that's already there? It's the exact same thing. Just give an existing key a new value. That's it. Access, add, and update. That's your bread and butter. But this brings up a really common gotcha. What happens if you try to ask for a key that, well, isn't actually there? Like, what if we ask for this person's country, but we never added it?
Boom, your program crashes. You'll get this big red key error. And trust me, this is probably one of the most common Python errors you'll ever see. It just halts everything because Python is telling you, hey, I looked for that label and it's just not here. Okay, but don't worry, there's a much smarter, safer way to do this. Instead of those square brackets, you can use the .get method. It looks for the key just like before, but here's the magic part. If it can't find it, it doesn't crash. Nope, it just calmly returns a default value that you can specify like not available. This is the pro move for safely getting data out of a dictionary. All right, let's talk about something really important. We know keys are awesome, but you can't just use whatever you want as a key. There is one golden rule you have to follow. And that rule is super simple. A key has one job. It has to be unique and it cannot change. That's it. Think of it like a street address for a house. The address points to one and only one house, and the address itself doesn't just change on a whim. If it did, your packages would never arrive. So, what does that mean in practice? It means things that don't change, the technical term is immutable, make perfect keys. You know, stuff like strings and numbers. But things that can change or are mutable are a big no-no. You absolutely cannot use a list or another dictionary as a key. Why? Because if the stuff inside that list changed, Python would have no idea what it was supposed to be pointing to anymore. And if you do try to break this rule, Python will give you this very specific, kind of weird-looking error, a type error for an unhashable type. Now, unhashable sounds scary, but it's just Python's fancy way of saying, hey, you gave me something that can change, and I can't trust it to be a key. So if you ever see that error, it's a dead giveaway. You tried using a list or something similar as a dictionary key.
Okay, so you've got the basics down. You know the golden rule. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's unlock some of the really powerful tools that come built in with dictionaries, the stuff that makes them amazing for working with data.
There are really three main methods that you're going to use all the time. First, you've got .keys. As you'd expect, it just gives you a list of all the keys. Super useful for just checking what's in there. Then there's .values, which gives you, all the values. Great if you just need to do math on the numbers or something. And finally, the most powerful of the three, dot items. This one gives you both the key and the value, bundled together as a pair. And that items method is the one you'll probably use the most, especially when you're looping. Because let's be honest, most of the time you want to work with both the key and its value at the same time. Items just hands them to you on a silver platter in every single step of your loop.
All right, let's try a cool little puzzle. What if you needed to flip a dictionary on its head? I mean, turn every value into a key and every key into a value. It sounds kind of complicated, right? Well, it turns out there's a tool that makes this ridiculously easy.
And that tool is called a dictionary comprehension. Think of it like a power move for dictionaries. It's this super short, super powerful way to build a new dictionary based on an old one. And just look at that code. In one single, easy-to-read line, we can go through all the items and build our new swapped dictionary. It's just elegant and super fast, too.
So that really brings us to the big takeaway here. Dictionaries give your data labels a meaning, and tools like comprehensions give you the power to reshape that data in an instant. So I'll leave you with this question. If you can completely flip a dictionary in just one line, what other amazing data transformations are now just a single line of code away?